Jason Wiley, senior, Portchester. The standout running back finished with just under 1,000 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns in a balanced Portchester rushing attack. He topped 100 yards in a game 6 times and averaged over 6 yards per carry. Wiley was a dynamic presence on both sides of the ball and in the return game and helped the re-emergence of the Portchester program the past 3 seasons. Ryan Dugan, senior, Mahopac. Dugan started every snap at quarterback for Mahopac during the 2017 season, completing 62% of his passes for 1,164 yards, 13 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. Dugan helped Mahopac beat Arlington to highlight his 6-3 season and was the most intelligent quarterback that Coach Dominic DiMatteo has ever had in his career. Lorenzo Henderson, senior, Ramapo. Henderson was a 3-year starter for the Griffins, leading the team in tackles as a sophomore and junior, and led the team in yards and touchdowns the past 2 seasons. A 2-time All-Section selection, Henderson ran for 1,256 yards and 7 touchdowns, averaging 6.3 yards per carry. He averaged 5 tackles per game on defense and intercepted a pass, earning team MVP honors for the 2nd year in a row. Lloyd King, senior, New Rochelle. Every great defense has a player like King in the middle of it, quiet, consistent, and unselfish. King was a punishing hitter who prevented opposing teams from effectively running to his side. On many other teams, he might have been the focal point of the offense, but King accepted the role of being a blocking tight end and even jumping onto the offensive line when needed for the Section 1 Class AA champions. A 90s student, his future is bright. King hopes to play in the Ivy League. James Sanchez, senior, Ossining. Sanchez has been a 3-year varsity starter who was a workhorse this fall, taking 230 carries for 1,607 yards and 15 touchdowns. He helped Ossining win his final 3 games, taking 102 carries in those contests and racking up a career-best 335 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns in a win over Mamaroneck. He had 77 tackles and added another 1,400 yards on punts and kickoff returns. Nick Hice, senior, Carmel. Hice was a 2-year, 2-way starter. The running back was a durable and physical presence out of the backfield and had an incredible work ethic. Hice was a great leader who was elected captain as a senior and also emerged this year as one of Class AA's top linebackers, displaying a nose for the football and an ability to make big plays. Ryan Flannigan, senior, Horace Greeley. Flannigan has been a 3-year starter at quarterback and developed this fall into one of the most entertaining players to watch. His ability to scramble and create on the run made him a nightmare for opposing defenses to game plan for. Flannigan was Greeley's captain and led the team in rushing and touchdowns, earning not only a spot in the exceptional senior game, but the starting nod at quarterback and a role as captain. Andrew Francois, senior, North Rockland. Francois was the captain this past season and a true leader on and off the field. The standout running back and linebacker, he led the Raiders in tackles as a junior and finished 2nd on the team this past season. Francois was one of the hardest workers North Rockland put on the field, committing year-round to weight training and to workouts. TJ Grogan, senior, Clarkstown South. A 2-year starter at guard and linebacker and a team captain, the standout played the entire season despite his shoulder injury, but he refused to let it slow him down. Grogan was a physical inside presence as a blocker and tackler, and despite being undersized in both positions, he hit like a truck. Grogan was at the forefront of South's win over Clarkstown North, as well as the postseason run to the Section 1 Class AA final. Derrick White, junior, John J. East Fishkill. White emerged as an incredible linebacker this season, possessing explosive speed and a high football IQ. He was the team's leading tackler and always found a way to be in the right place at crucial times. White recorded double-digit tackles in multiple contests, including 15 tackles in a win over Portchester, and helped John J. East Fishkill reach the Section 1 Class AA semis. Will Longing, senior, Clarkstown South. One of the few holdovers from last year's 7-2 squad, Longing stepped into a prominent role this season and thrived on both sides of the ball. A 3-year varsity starter and team captain, Longing was a reliable receiver, catching 22 passes. He was a leader on both sides of the ball, calling out defensive coverages and signaling plays on offense to receivers. South's offensive coordinator Scott Saunders called Longing one of the most competitive players he's ever coached and one of the finest young men he's ever been around. Andrew Brown, Jr., Fox Lane. Brown is already a 2-year varsity starter and will be a 2-year captain next season. This fall, he was one of the region's breakout stars, topping 250 yards rushing 3 times and finishing the year with over 1,300 yards on the ground. What was most impressive was Brown's ability to handle a heavy workload and excel when most defenses were keying on him. Brown enters next season as one of the area's most talented players. Ryan Cox, Sr., Clarkstown North. Cox has a nose for the football, whether it's on special teams or roaming on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker, where he was always part of the tackle. He plays the game with a tremendous amount of energy and attitude. When a big play was needed, you could always count on Cox to make it. Ryan consistently strives for excellence both on and off the field and helped North to a successful 7-win campaign. Ryan Nicholas, Sr., Arlington. Nicholas has been a 2-year starter on both the offensive and defensive side of the line and was the second leading tackler this past season. His relentless style of play has been a pleasure to watch, serving as a true example for what it means to play with a motor. Nicholas had 81 tackles, highlighted by 23 combined in consecutive victories over Fox Lane and Austin. Lucas Summers, Sr., Suffern. If you watched Suffern play at all this season, you couldn't help but notice one fact. Summers essentially never came off the field. Section 1 didn't have many more versatile, all-around talents than the 3-year starter, and he carried the team as a runner, receiver, blocker, and at linebacker. Summers, who'll play lacrosse at Florida Southern, had over 1,000 yards of total offense and was the offensive MVP in the senior game. Romeo Holden, Sr., New Rochelle. If you made a list of the most electrifying players in the region this season, Holden's name would be near the top of it. The Monmouth University commit followed up a sensational junior season with another year of jaw-dropping highlight plays.
Romeo Holden electrifies his way, beating the punter to the end zone.
In a balanced New Rochelle offense, Holden combined for nearly 1,000 total yards and 15 touchdowns, beating defenses with a slew of big plays, and he also served as a shutdown corner. Max Buzzle, Sr., Scarsdale. Buzzle was the workhorse and a focal point of Scarsdale's triple option attack. As Scarsdale's leading rusher, he ran for nearly 5 yards per carry and could always be relied on to get that tough yard. Buzzle was a 2-way starter and captain and was regarded as the general on the defense, always rising to the occasion. Buzzle's leadership and physical style of play brought a quiet confidence and aggressive style to the Raiders. Joey O'Hara, Sr., Clarkstown North. O'Hara enjoyed a breakout senior season, guiding North to 7 victories, highlighted by a 5-0 start. He opened the season with 154 yards rushing in a win over North Rockland and took off from there. He ran for over 800 yards and 8 scores and was part of one of the area's deepest backfields, emerging as a big play threat who consistently found the end zone. O'Hara possessed a tremendous work ethic in all aspects of the game, studying game film to try and get an edge on the opponent. Chris Fox, Jr., Ketchum. Fox has been a 3-year starter for the Indians at right tackle and a 2-way player this past fall. He's a physical presence who can be very dominant at times and was voted team captain as a junior. Fox required constant double teams and is a hard-working, highly motivated kid who loves the game. Dillon Burnett, Sr., John Jay's Fishkill. Burnett was a 2-year member of the varsity squad and started in both seasons. Burnett was an incredible offensive weapon out of the backfield, as well as a downfield threat at receiver. He had the agility to make defenses miss, the power to fight through tackles, and the speed to take the edge. Defensively, he was an excellent cornerback who matched up with some of the section's best receivers. Joe Dallow, Sr., Mayapack. Dallow started every snap for Mayapack at strong safety this fall and as a punt returner, and shined on the team that won 6 games. He had 101 total tackles and 4 interceptions, establishing himself among the most physical defensive players in Section 1. He was also a threat at wide receiver, catching 4 touchdowns despite limited targets, and earned a spot in the exceptional senior game. Drew Talevi, Jr., Clarkstown South. In his first season as South starting quarterback, Talibbi took the program to heights they hadn't reached in 20 years. The strong-arm signal caller passed for over 100 yards in 9 out of 10 games, closing the year with 1,300 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. He highlighted this year by passing for 252 yards and 3 scores in a playoff win over Fox Lane for a South team that reached the Section 1 Class AA final. Michael Flaytau, senior, Mamaroneck. Flaytau was a 3-year starter and led the team in tackles, receptions, and receiving yards as a senior. As a safety, he was always around the football and played far bigger than his frame. On offense, Flaytau lined up pretty much everywhere, demonstrating his multiple skills as a blocker, rusher, and receiver. Jonathan Sadler, senior, New Rochelle. The 4-year varsity starter solidified himself among the great 2A players to come through the New Rochelle program in the past 2 decades. Sadler passed for over 1,000 yards and 18 touchdowns this season, and also ran for 4 scores, despite rarely playing into the 4th quarter of most games.
Sadler with time throws over the middle in stride. Myles Taylor breaking away.
He guided New Rochelle to a 3rd straight Section 1 Class AA championship, and Sadler was a punishing defensive player on a unit that posted 6 straight shutouts in the regular season. Ricardo Yolas, senior, Arlington. Over the past 2 seasons, Yolas ranked among the most productive and consistent running backs in the Hudson Valley. He followed up a breakout junior campaign by rushing for 1,403 yards and 14 touchdowns, topping 100 yards in the game in 8 out of 9 contests. In 2 seasons, he rushed over 2,500 yards and scored 29 times, leading the Admirals to the Section 1 Class AA semifinals both seasons. James Luciano, senior, John Jay's Fishkill.
Aledo with time, steps up, tosses over the middle, complete. James Luciano.
Luciano was a 3-year member of the varsity program at Jay and a 2-year varsity starter, serving as a captain in 2017. A great ambassador for the program, Luciano was one of the most versatile members on the Indians roster, serving as a safety, running back, and punter. A true downhill runner on offense and a punishing blocker on defense, Luciano was a coach's dream. Bryan McCabe, senior, Carmel. For a Ram squad that won more than their share of games in the trenches, McCabe was the glue on the offensive and defensive lines. The tight end, defensive end, plays with 100% effort on every snap. He led the team in tackles and sacks. At tight end, McCabe had great hands and takes true pride in his blocking. Jaden Cook, junior, North Rockland. Cook has been a 2-year varsity starter on both sides of the ball. He has been the team MVP in the past 2 seasons, leading the team in touchdowns in that span with 20. This fall, he ran for 765 yards and 8 scores, and had 342 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. In 2 years, he has 62 receptions in just 18 contests, making him one of the most dynamic and versatile athletes in Section 1.
Enjoy the moment.
Noah Glanz, senior, Scarsdale.
Number 2.
An all-conference and all-league player as a junior, Noah was the anchor on the offensive and defensive lines. He led the Raiders in sacks with 10.5 and fumble recoveries, while totaling the 2nd most tackles on the team with 41.5. As a captain, Glanz's leadership on and off the field helped raise the play of the entire Scarsdale roster, guiding the team to a spot in the Class AA final 2 years ago and to a 6-0 start in the regular season this fall. Sam Franco, senior, Clarkstown South. The imposing fullback linebacker progressed dramatically over the course of the season for the Section 1 Class AA finalists. Franco ran for over 800 yards and 5 touchdowns, highlighted by his 178-yard, 2-touchdown performance in a win over rival North Rockland in the regular season. He had another one of those best efforts in the postseason, gaining 138 yards and a touchdown in an upset win over Arlington, all while serving as a dynamic linebacker on South's ferocious defense. Eric Mora, senior, Clarkstown North. Mora was a dynamic all-around athlete, starting at halfback and safety. He led the team on and off the field, a true team player, always working to make those around him better. His positive attitude, along with tremendous work ethic, motivated all the younger players in the program. He rushed for over 700 yards to earn all-section honors for the second year in a row. Kyrie Manes, Jr., New Rochelle. On a Huguenots defense loaded with elite talent, the most feared player was Kyrie Manes.
Franco to Lamar, ball is loose, Manes picks it up.
The 6'3" linebacker made a habit of running down opposing quarterbacks. He also contributed heavily to the Huguenots' run of 6 consecutive shutouts in the regular season and in winning a 3rd straight championship. He was the Defensive MVP award winner in the Class AA final victory over Clarkstown South. Manes was second on the team in tackles with 76 and also had 15 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. Jake Cerrito, Senior, Arlington. Once again this fall, the Admirals had one of the section's top offensive lines, and Cerrito was a main reason why. He showed unbelievable durability and reliability game after game, taking every offensive snap the past 2 seasons. He was a true anchor on the offensive line and possessed a rare ability to make all those around him better. Cerrito was on a unit that helped Arlington finish among the top rushing teams in this section for the 2nd year in a row. Jarrod Baron, Senior, New Rochelle. One of the most recognizable names in Section 1 over the past 4 seasons has been Jarrod Baron. The running back and linebacker has started since he was a freshman and now ranks among the career rushing leaders in the area's most high-profile program. He ran for over 1,000 yards again this fall, averaging nearly 9 yards per carry and scoring in all but 1 contest.
Jarrod Baron through the middle to the end zone.
Baron won 3 Section 1 championships and leaves quite a legacy in the New Rochelle program. Myles Taylor, Senior, New Rochelle. What most players need to do with 2 hands, Myles Taylor can do with 1. As many big plays as he made as a wide receiver for the Huguenots, he was an untouchable presence in the secondary, making one-handed pick after one-handed pick.
Sadler to Taylor. First down for the Huguenots. Myles Taylor bursting down the sideline. Touchdown, New Rochelle.
Taylor caught 8 touchdowns, scoring in 7 of New Rochelle's 11 contests, and helping the Huguenots reach the state quarterfinals.